Hello there, my name is Pavor Stelmo and now we'll unveil the top news of recent days. New winter poses new challenges. That's why November Rammstein meeting has become a control one before Ukraine enters the second wartime winter. A number of decisions during the meeting concerned equipment, machinery and weapons for the winter period. To protect the Ukrainian sky, 20 countries united in a new coalition of ground-based air defense systems led by Germany and France. The issue of conducting a minesweeping operation in the Black Sea, which is carried out by Romania and Bulgaria, was discussed too. The United Kingdom and Norway will direct efforts to assist partners in restoring security in the Black Sea. The United States renewed assurances about its ability to provide support to Ukraine in parallel with Israel assistance. It is expected that in December progress will be achieved in the issue of appointing allocations for Ukraine by the Congress. Germany announced the second consecutive package of military assistance to Ukraine at the Rammstein meeting. In addition, assistance will come from Lithuania, Bulgaria, Finland, the Netherlands and Estonia.
I am grateful to every country that participates in these efforts, which enable our cities and villages to be more protected from Russian attacks. Not everything can be said publicly yet, but Ukraine's sky shield is getting more powerful literally every month.
Each weapon strengthens the ability of the Ukrainian defense forces to resist the enemy and liberate Ukrainian territory. HIMARS, Storm Shadow and Scalp, ATACMS missiles, Abrams, Challenger and Leopard tanks have already changed the situation on the battlefield. Hungarian Prime Minister Viktor Orban, in a letter to the President of the Council of Europe, Charles Michel, threatened to block the decision on the appointment of any assistance to Ukraine, as well as the start of negotiation on accession to the EU. We are disappointed with the rhetoric of the official Budapest, the particular sharpness of which is observed after the meeting of Orban with Putin in Beijing, especially given the previous negotiations at the government level that gave grounds for optimism. But the Hungarian government signed a construction schedule for the new nuclear power plant with the Russian company Rosatom, and the Russian state-owned company Gazprom announced its intention to increase gas supplies to Hungary.
Even Hungary knows that by continuing these actions, they are giving Russia the right to manipulate their market. I know one political leader in Europe who shakes hands with this war criminal and no one else. Kadri Simpson, European Energy Commissioner, in a commentary for Politico.
Playing into the hands of the Kremlin will not benefit Hungary, but will isolate it from the European community. According to the conclusions of the European Commission and the President of the European Council, Ukraine has succeeded in implementing the recommendations to open EU accession negotiations. Budapest should take this position into account and not serve Moscow's interests. Ukraine continues to reform its legislation in the field of protecting national minorities, in accordance with the recommendations of the European Commission and the Venice Commission. This applies to all minorities, in particular Romanian, Bulgarian, and does not provide for separate preferences for the Hungarian national minority. And now we count on the support of its European integration aspirations by all countries of the European community and consider blackmail and threats from individual countries unacceptable. During the virtual G20 meeting, Putin was spreading Russian propaganda. Oh, everything he says is propaganda. Russia, which is undermining this international order based on rule of law and an invasive war, has no place in the G20. The Kremlin once again used an influential information platform to spread false propaganda about alleged guilt of Ukraine and the fact that Russia attacked it. Putin tried to pretend to be a peacemaker and cynically urged to think how to stop this tragedy, knowing full well that only he could stop the bloodshed in Ukraine. Putin said that Ukraine is killing civilians. Really? And is it Ukraine who used anti-ship, not accurate missiles for hitting the trade center in Kremenchuk, or the central square of Vinnytsia? Or Ukraine has launched more than 70 missiles in one time to hit the energy sector itself? The extermination of the civilian population in Ukraine since 2014 has been carried out exclusively by Russia. It does it deliberately, knowing perfectly well that the results of its genocide will take place. And since February 2022, the extermination of civilian population has taken a systemic, large-scale, devastatingly total character, including aerial bombardment, missile and artillery shelling of the entire territory of Ukraine.
Russia has nothing to think about how to stop the tragedy in Ukraine. Murderers who commit a premeditated crime in cold blood in the middle of it do not think how to stop the crime. The only workable solution, the realization of which is still beyond Putin's mind, is to immediately withdraw the occupying Russian troops from the sovereign territory of another state. Afterwards, sit down to discuss payments, compensation and other legal consequences of the war. Mikhailo Podolyak, advisor to the head of the Office of the President of Ukraine on social network X, formerly Twitter.
A vile lie was Putin's statement that Ukraine allegedly did not strive for peace. In fact, Ukraine does not seek capitulation and occupation of its territories. Ukraine does not need an imitation of a truce. Ukraine will fight to prevent a new escalation of aggression of Russia in the future. President Joe Biden and Chinese President Xi Jinping definitely ignored the meeting at which Putin spoke because they understood perfectly the falsity of the Kremlin's rhetoric. That concludes our today's video. Thank you for watching and stay updated. Subscribe to our UATV English channel for more news from Ukraine. Your support is that really matters. Goodbye.